Welcome back to another game in the Point of View series. We're watching Age of Mythology Retold top players from their perspective to see how they play and see if we can improve by watching them. So today we're watching TheMista versus Dragonfire. So this is one of the games to qualify for the Genesis tournaments. This is the EGC tournament. If you want to see any of the full games, then I'll leave a link in the description to it. But today we're watching this from TheMista's perspective, and he's playing Set against Dragonfire, who is the Frey player. And it doesn't actually say the map. But I think it's like some kind of Savannah-y map. I don't know what it's called nowadays. But it's quite an open map, but has some of these trees to cut off the areas. So, interesting choice for the set. And I have seen this game already. So this is something that people suggested to me, was maybe watching the games first. I'm not always going to do this, but for this game, I was actually on the train back from London because I went to Comic-Con and I saw Boyd was streaming, so I thought I would check out the Mr. games, and this one was just so well played by the Mr. And I won't spoil anything yet, but it was a great game. So I just want to see what he did and see how we can replicate this strategy. So going against Frey can basically, as he's doing now, get his upgrade super early, which basically means that if he sits back and doesn't do anything, then he's kind of going to win. You need to put the pressure on at some point. It doesn't have to be like 4 minutes in. It doesn't have to be really early. But at some point before the late game, you need to do something there. Otherwise, you're going to be at a disadvantage economically. And at the top level, if there's an economic disparity, then you're probably going to lose there. So one of Set's unique abilities is he can take rhinos or anything from Gaia and transport them to your own. So what he's done here is he knows that on this map there's probably going to be some hunt in the corner, so why not get that first? Set doesn't like walking for the hunt, he likes to get it brought to him, and you get a small amount of food taken off. So it goes from 500 to 375, but you don't have to walk there. So you basically gain food there, and you can put the farms down sooner. But this map here too also has elephants on it. Elephants are a great one to convert. These zebras he can probably bring over unless he wants to go for this town centre. You can see here how much scouting Set has. And it's interesting that he's doing the outside of the maps first rather than the inside. So this is some map knowledge for you, and he's seeing all the gold mines here. There's some relics up here, so let's see what the relics are. See whether they're going to make a difference. Arrow of Heracles. So this gives extra damage to ranged soldiers. So that's going to help the slingers or the chariot archers, but with this meta, slingers. Archimedes' Ledger, which is siege weapons take less population space. So this matters in the later part of the game when you've got 3 town centers, you've got your houses up, you've got fortified town centers. Then this is useful. Up until then, not really that useful, more of a late game one. And Text of Imhotep, buildings construct faster by 10%. Really, really nice, especially for Egyptians, because Egyptian buildings take so long to come up. So it's such a big difference. We saw here he got to the monument to the villagers up straight away. And Set's bonus here is you can put barracks around this and the barracks produce faster. So no surprise he's going through Ptah. Ptah with Ra and Set currently is really strong because of that Electron Bullets upgrade, which gets divine damage on your slingers. Just pretty good here. Oh, and there's one more relic. Bow of Artemis. Ranged soldiers cost less. Okay, so this is going to be pretty useful. If he wants to go into slingers, this one here, there was another ranged one, wasn't there? These 2 relics here are both going to be great for a player going into that there. He's got his Wadjet out. He's got his free units out. They're going to have a scout around. Down here, we just saw it quickly flash up. This is where the Asgardian Bastion for the Frey player went. It's also just using a quick vision to see what buildings his opponent's building there, and seeing where the Draugr is. I'm not sure whether the Mr. would have seen this red bit here, but because he's seen the Hersa walking there, the Draugr walking away, he will more than likely know that is exactly where the Asgardian Bastion is going up. Asgardian Bastion gives you a hill fort, but a very, very slow hill fort to build, but it gets you it in an age earlier. So is he deciding to get some more units out? So yeah, it looks like he's getting Axemen out, getting some priests and wadgets to put some pressure on this Asgardian hill fort down here. Also got a really nice obelisk just to see exactly what is coming for him. How this works is it builds itself, but it builds it really slow. Then it halves the time if you have any units on it. So he really wants to get those units on to stop it there. And he's just going to stop them right there. Oh, excuse me. And it is almost built. And there's nothing he can really do to stop it now, but he can just put some pressure onto the units, maybe take some of them out. Even if they all go down, this thing will still build itself. It's so close to getting up. It's only 100 HP left, so he just kind of has to walk away. Maybe he could have fought more, but I think he just wanted to go after the Draugr. Nice snipe there on a random Hersa that was coming out. The Wadgets are very strong attack-wise, but they're very frail. They're a very glass cannon kind of unit, and very slow too. So if any Hersas get on it, then they can really go down. So this was one Hersa dealing like half damage to both. Actually, it was probably a Hersa down here as well. So, but if there was no other units about, those Wadgets would have been in a bit of trouble. But luckily he has these, well, not luckily, by design he has these priests out, and TheMista's priests will easily be able to heal up these Wadgets. The Wadgets don't have their regen anymore in Legacy. They had extra regen, which is a bit of a random upgrade, to be honest, but they don't have that anymore. Obelisk here can see this gold mine. If he wants to bump it with a priest to get extra line of sight, he'll be able to see this gold mine, or get signal fires to get that extra line of sight for this gold mine. But that is probably the second gold mine the opponent's going to go for. He might go for this one. One thing that Frey players do like to do is they like to sit back and boom. So he could be getting this second town center here to defend this gold mine. It would be pretty risky, especially because they build pretty slow for the Norse players. But just something to keep in mind. It'd be good to send a priest over there to get an obelisk up. He does have 3 priests, or 4 priests total. Really nice heads up play to know that a Norse player is probably going to want to build raiding cavalry. Why not get a couple of spearmen out to defend? You get your 3 watchtowers. Really nice wall setup here. Tiny little gap here to actually let the units in for the spearmen to just annihilate them there. Interesting setup here. He's got the axeman, which will deal with the Hersas that are coming onto the Wadgets, and bringing around these 3 units that he's got just for extra bulk and a little bit of DPS here. So here we've got them. The units here were on the berries. Preemptively move those off just in case there was some aggression. And because there's still raiding cavalry around, he wants to sit on this elephant rather than go back to the berry bush. Just really nice. It's the really small things that some of these top level players do that you either wouldn't think of it, or just don't kind of have the APM to do those tiny little things that do make a difference. Wadget's coming here. Golem Bursty goes down. And that is a hero right there. So you really want to get those Wadgets out. Fortunately, one Wadget goes down, but really heads up play to shifting sands, get these units out. Really low HP for these Wadgets, but saving those 2 Wadgets is absolutely huge. This one is apparently going to get caught out, but there are spearmen there. Spearmen are pretty good against raiders, but TheMista really does need to heal these guys back up. But wants to get in a decent position first, and then set all his priests to heal those up. And look how quickly it goes, because he's got four of them, an extra 5th one here. Finishing up on this food here, he can easily just sit on these goats. TheMista likes to get husbandry really early, so I'm sure he has that, and that gives you an extra boosted gather rate on those herdables there, so not a problem. Got a really strong army currently. Golem Bursty goes down. Was really slow, so even if it was still alive, it wouldn't be coming over here. But he did have to trade a classical age god power for a archaic age god power, but Golem Bursty is no normal one. As you can see, it takes 300 favor to recast this guy, because in later ages it can solo full armies. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous. Seeing that there's a bit of food being gathered here, the enemy berserk taking out that obelisk means that he wants to put a bit of pressure on here. Sending the Wadgets forward to take down the berserk shouldn't be a problem there. And then these guys just there to defend from these raiders that wanted to come in. Really nice bit of vision with those obelisks. TheMista is one of these players that always gets obelisks up, even later on in the game, and not just playing as Isis that builds them quickly, even playing as Set, which has the worst obelisks, which I said earlier to bump the things. It's because I keep seeing players Ra. You can't bump them as Set. You can't empower them. Just Ra and Set currently play so similarly because they both go through Patar. But this is Set. Set cannot bump those. He does have the worst obelisks, but probably the best scouting with all his gazelles of Set and random things. Spearman 5.3 speed, raiding cavalry 6 speed. They're not really going to catch them, but they're just chasing them away just in case they wanted to come into the main base. And it looks like here we got some rhinos of Set. So even though the herdables are pretty much gone, the pharaoh can build these extra units whenever he wants, but these are actually just ones that he's found from around the map. So moving on to this extra gold mine, spearmen there to defend the unupgraded raiders. So actually, unupgraded raiders versus medium spearmen are going to win this. It's just when you're on equal upgrades with the raiders, they're normally a little bit stronger, unless you have extra upgrades for your spearmen. Spearmen are unfortunately quite weak, unless you have some kind of extra upgrades for them. If you're going through Horus or if you're going through Anubis, and you get those extra upgrades. You do get extra pierce armor going through Batar, but obviously it's not really useful, especially in the early game against the Norse. So up to the next stage, gone through Nephthys. So instead of going through Sekhmet to get the extra Slingers of the Sun upgrade, Slingers of the Sun is decided to go through Nephthys. So this gives you actually priest upgrades, and he's got quite a few priests out. So they can get extra healing, which is useful. They can get upgrades to make them cheaper, or they can get an upgrade. What is the last one? Do extra damage to myth units. So all of those are pretty crucial. It means you need a lot of favor to use them. But if you just get the ones that are useful to you, no point getting the myth unit one yet because you've not really seen extra rock giants. But rock giants are really scary. So if you don't go through Nephthys, it can be a bit of a blunder against those basically. I know we're not looking from the Frey perspective, but this is the benefit of him. He gets so many upgrades constantly. So, jockeying around here, really nice, or really equal fight here. A Tempest dropped down by the enemy, and the quickest shifting sands you've ever seen to just get out of it. So that is the second shifting sands from TheMista, and this is why I wanted to watch this game. He knew that his army is so slow, and he would win an equal fight, but if the Tempest God Power comes down, he would absolutely lose that. But shifting sands out, enemy player steps forward to fight because he's still thinking that he's in a good position because the Mister's ran away. But he only ran away because of the Tempest God Power. In come the minions, even some lost ships, just because why not? That's what happens when you cast Ancestors near water, and he just absolutely obliterates the army. It kind of gave the Frey player a false sense of security, thinking that the Mister's running away, but it's just because he was running away from the God Power, not running away from the fight. It was a pretty equal fight, if not in favor of the player that's got heavy everything versus just medium infantry. And this puts the Mister back in the driver's seat just from such a seemingly small play or a small part of the game. He's in such a commanding position now. Can even run back with his ancestors. He's got 10 seconds left on that, waiting for the rest of his army. His army is absolutely huge, and he can just put on the pressure here. Doesn't have any siege units, but it's more just to push the player off of this gold mine because he knows that he is on this gold mine. That's why he set up this hill fort about 10 minutes ago. That's just exactly what he wanted to use it for, and he's just going to take the fight here. And the slingers with their divine damage. Spearmen against the counter units, against the Jarls, against the raiding cavalry, and the loads of Wadgets that just aren't being touched by these hearses, and that will spell a bit of a demise for Dragonfire, to be honest. Also spreading around this, just in case any of the units in there want to pop out, he'll be a box around them to surround, and then this is the end of the gold mine operation from Dragonfire, and the Mister takes it away. So. This one I had seen before, and I just knew that the Shifting Sands play was just too good. It's basically just a bait. It was just to bait out the Tempest. It's such a strong god power. It costs 200 to reuse. So good. If you want to watch any of these games in full, I'd suggest checking out the EGC Twitch channel, which I'll leave a link to in the description. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.